And we're back, restocked, ready to roll. Boom. In video games news this week.
I've got to say my mind is blown.
Yeah, I got
Boom.
my brand new display.
Wow.
I need to put it up a little higher, it looks like. But normally when it's just me sitting here,
Yeah.
that'll be cool.
I could go.
No, we're cool. We're good. We're good to go.
What's up, everybody?
So,
You've reached Comically Gaming episode 40. So, the big 4-0.
finally,
Over the hill.
me.
Yeah.
Finally
got there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Corey.
Nate.
Nate.
I'm Adam.
Special guest. Adam in the house.
Special guest.
Yeah. Talk some board
Adam.
games later.
And our website is Games, Comics, and Culture .wordpress.com. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/GCANDC. You can follow us on Twitter at GCANDC. You can follow me at CJ Closter, KLOSTER. Follow Nate.
I'm at Darth Nader, DARTH_N8R. You do Twitter?
I do. I'm not worth following.
all right. Good enough.
Email us, gamescomicsandculture@gmail.com. Follow our Facebook group. Just search for Games, Comics, and Culture. And then Twitch profiles, I'm the_stallion_87.
And I'm Darth_N8R_76. Because I'm old. Just like Comically Gaming.
Yeah. And another big week, hit 250 subs. We were just celebrating 200 last week, so 200 to 250.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Crazy.
Are you guys going to go back to work like everything's normal?
Yeah, we'll pretend.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks everybody who joined this past week. I think last week we were at 221 and at 254 this week. So really appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. So totally appreciate it. As always, been doing this for a while. Just want to throw some shout outs to some of the followers, other people kind of doing similar stuff to us. I think Nate was going to spotlight a couple.
Okay, yeah, sure. You threw me for a loop. I thought we were gonna do the weekly breakdown first, but we can do this. Let me find it.
Should we?
So the spotlight. So again, the stuff that every week we get a bunch of supporters, people that follow us. We just want to try and help people out by hooking their stuff up, giving them a quick shout out here, putting the link in the description. So if you're out there, you're breaking your back, trying to do this crap that we're doing on YouTube here, and looking for support, looking for help, check out these guys in the description there. So real quick, the kind of highlights of the ones that I found this week. The first one's called UK Toy Collector 1977, and this guy is straight up Star Wars toys expert. It's video by video, individual toys. There's short videos and stuff like that, but there's no unboxings. He's not taking these things out of the box. But he's got some crazy rare stuff. He just brings out the new stuff. He goes to toy fairs and hunts down Star Wars there. So it was definitely fun going through his site, being the big Star Wars nerd that I am this week. And then the other one I had is the YouTube channel is called Far-No, and the guy does a lot of Let's Plays, like a lot of people in the community that have been talking with us and commenting in our videos and stuff. He also does a Doctor Who podcast. I'm not a big Doctor Who fan, but I know we got to have some crossover with the people who like our show, who are also have some Doctor Who fans. So.
You're not a Doctor Who fan?
I am, but I wouldn't say a big one. Not like I am with Star Wars or something like that.
I mean, the Christmas episodes, just standing alone, is worth getting into Doctor Who.
Sure. Yeah, that and we, what's the one with the angels? The angel statues, Blink or something. Don't Blink. I forget what it's called.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's a couple that we kind of did a search when we were getting into it with the kids about what's what are good episodes if you're not into Doctor Who, and that Angel one was the one that came up on everybody's list for sure. But anyways, a little bit out of the norm. I like to kind of find these channels that are doing something else besides just the standard. Here's some video game gameplay sort of thing. Not that that's bad, because there's plenty of that too, and people that are supporting us. But I'd like to spotlight the stuff that's a little bit out of the norm. So those were the two that I found this week.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, and then I was just gonna run through a lot of the other channels. Most of these people just doing Let's Plays, making videos, helping support them. If you want to watch their stuff, just check out there's going to be links to all their channels and descriptions below the video in the description. So we got Comic Book Broadcaster, CGI Studios, Harley Quinn YT, Heem's Cast Gaming, Shadows Alley, Dementor Game. Oh, that's all the same one. Endog 666 Gaming, Sparry's World, Cinema Storms, and Pro Exclusive 1989. So,
yep,
yeah,
totally. And
check those guys out.
The one you had, Dementor Gameplay and Tutorials, is what I have, what you jotted down on what you sent to me. And then I have one more.
Oh, okay, that's the name.
Yeah, yep. And then one more to throw in was Sarcastic Husband Father Gamer. That guy had some good videos as well, and a great name. And then finally,
see, I thought that was the description before.
But finally, we'll move on. But I want to say thanks to 09 Archmage, who gave us a shout out in his video this week. Super awesome.
Yeah, that
really
was awesome.
Appreciate that. Yeah, and finally, I wanted to give a shout out to OTK Magic Stick, because that dude's all up and down in our comments on every video that we post. Definitely appreciate it. He's making comments to show that he watches the content. It's not just the nice vid comment, which I appreciate those too. But yeah, definitely fired up about those two for sure. So, on with the show. Corey, how's your week?
Pretty good.
I thought we lost you.
What? Yeah, I don't know. You guys are breaking up a little bit, but pretty good. I read up to current on The Walking Dead. Yeah, read all The Walking Dead. Up to current on that, on the books.
This one?
You are too. Yep. Read that.
So
still
awesome, huh?
Still continues to be awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy. That'll have to be spoilers next week.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can't say anything, especially for people watching the show and whatnot.
Right.
But yeah, continues to be awesome.
Did you see the variant cover for that?
Yeah, I read 161, 2, and 3.
Did you see the variant
I also
cover, Corey?
Been reading some Batman.
Corey.
I got into a stupid crossover, so I only on book number 8, I think. But I read 6 parts of the Monster War thing.
Sure.
I'm assuming you only read the Batman parts of that?
I just read the Batman ones, yes. Yep.
Yeah, it was a 6-part crossover. So there was 2 Nightwings, 2 Detective Comics, and 2 Batmans. So I read all that, and then I'm about to get back into Batman after that storyline. So
right.
Working on that. Yep. Games. Let's see. I played some Darkest Dungeon finally. Not a whole lot. Got to the point where I could go to the tavern and the church and whatnot.
Sure.
How'd
it go?
Seems pretty good so far. I don't know. Do I want to have a maxed out party? Like, do I want to have as many people as possible, or you start with 3 people.
You can
can have like 9.
You can only take 4 into the dungeon, but you can have a pile of them in your group. And so after you come out of a dungeon, then half of the party's all stressed out and stuff. So you find out who likes to drink to release stress, and you send them to the tavern. You find out who likes to pray to release stress, and you send them to the abbey. And then you pick your new group from the next time from who's ever left over, sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Right.
It's did all your guys live? Did you just do the first one, like the outside one?
I did that, and then like the next one. Everybody lived. One of the guys went crazy, but I sent him to the bar. Hopefully, he's relieving some stress there,
right.
getting some drinks.
Right. So yeah, I love it, man. I played a few more rounds of it this week, and I had like super simple, not boss, just a regular dungeon, and going through it. I have this one guy in my group who turns into a werewolf, and if that's like one of his 4 moves, and then the werewolf has a different set of attacks, and when he turns into a werewolf, it stresses out the 2 people sitting next to him. Like they're like, oh shit, they get scared by him and stuff, and so it adds onto their stuff. And then I had like total catastrophe. I got to the final room of the dungeon, and 3 of the team died, and then so the other guy ran away, and he had to walk back through the whole dungeon by himself. And he was all stressed out every time he'd go into a room when it was dark and stuff like that. So yeah, just loving it. The way that people go crazy in different ways and whatnot, and the different things they'll stop listening to you, or like one person turned real selfish where they wouldn't heal the group anymore, and that was my healer. That was in my catastrophe run. You know what I mean? I was screwed.
Nice.
But yeah, super fun. I love it. You know.
Yeah, definitely want to play it some more. I just at least wanted to boot it up and check it out a little bit. So,
sure.
Yeah, digging that. Played a couple games of NBA. I think you said you're going to simulate me.
It's already done.
Did you do any of that?
Already done. Yep.
I made it.
You made it.
Nice. Oh yeah, to the playoffs. So, and played some Pokemon Go. With the new update. You guys check it out yet?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That was what most of my week was dedicated to.
Yeah. I went out. I didn't have much time to go out. Me and my roommate went out yesterday morning for a couple hours to the park. It's been super nice here, so the scene's not what it used to be. I think we were the only 2. There were no lures, but yeah, catching new Pokemon, sweet. It's like I forget these Gen 2 Pokemon. Half of them I don't even recognize. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
how's your curveball?
I don't really curve it that much. I need to work on it.
They changed the physics of it. Mine's all messed up.
Oh really? Gotcha. So yeah, I would definitely. I just today finally had time to like clear out. When I stopped playing Pokemon Go, I had 250 Pokemon sitting there, and I was ready to use a lucky egg and evolve everybody at the same time. So I was just telling Adam before we started that I sat down and cleaned everything up so I can start playing it for real tomorrow again. See what happens. Grab some more of these guys. I would say Adam's absolutely Pokemon Go expert. I think probably more so than me and you, maybe equal to you when you were in your prime, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Do you have any more input on the new upgrades and things like that? Like
learn how to defeat Blissey, which is the new evolution that they just released of the Chansey. They're tanks, and what people are doing is tossing them in gyms, and then you can't defeat them fast enough. You run out of time. There's actually a red gym in Acacia Park, and it has 7 Blissies in it, and I don't think there's any way you're going to get it without an update.
It'll never go away. Yeah.
You just time out.
Right.
And I don't know. I haven't found anything that'll take them down super fast.
Sure.
But I think that she's the big player now.
That's cool. And besides the 80 new Pokemon, is there updates to gameplay? I mean, we were talking about there's some evolution that you need a rare item for. Is there anything else?
Oh yeah, there's a third or an optional evolution on different Pokemon, and you have to find a special item. There's like a dragon scale and some other stuff. They're really rare. You get them from Pokestops. I don't have any of them yet, and I've hit 150 Pokestops today. But,
right. It tells you how rare it is.
Yeah. So online, I read that on your 7-day streak of getting a Pokestop, you have a better chance of getting a special item. What's pissing me off is I've been saving up 100 candy for an Ivysaur, And now there's a third evolution that takes another 100 candy. And I've been collecting this for like 4 months.
That's crazy.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I assume you can probably
Crazy.
buy those special items with real
No,
money.
you cannot.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
And you can't buy. Infinite Incubator. We were hoping on this update you could get a second or
Sure.
third one of those. You still are stuck to one.
Okay, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, but they I think they're getting their revenue from advertising more so than players,
Sure.
which I think is pretty cool.
Right.
And it's very not pay to win right now.
Well, once you get
Right.
25 and up, you know what I mean? It's just a grind at that point. So
Yeah.
either you like collecting Pokemon or you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you get to that point, I feel like. All right. Well, we cut
For
off
sure.
your
Yep.
stuff this week. You got anything else?
Sorry, Corey.
That's fine. Played some more Fire Emblem Heroes.
I'm out.
Still
on that.
digging that.
Yeah, I haven't since the first
Yeah.
week. Is it getting better, getting worse, the
Yeah.
same?
It's the same. I like it. I mean, I think I'm on the final chapter now on normal mode. I did some on hard mode. As far as the maps go and the gameplay, that it's definitely like real simplified compared to the normal Fire Emblem games. It never really gets too much harder.
Right.
But it's fun. I got a 5-star little chick that transforms into a dragon. And she's dope. And still digging it.
So my problem
Also-
with Fire Emblem is my phone is a work phone, and I'm work phone only at this point, and so I just didn't put it on there. I put it on my iPad instead, and it's like I just don't play games on my iPad. It's just like it's like an appointment gaming for me, and at that point, I'd rather be on the PS4. You know, I'm sure if I had it on the phone, I'd play
Right.
more.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, I just play in my downtime at work on smoke breaks and stuff, and
Right.
yeah, on my phone. Yeah, I get that for sure. And then also play a little more Dead or Alive with my roommate. He's kind of getting into it, kicking my ass. So you have to next time we play, you and Oliver will have to play against Jeff. Let him get in the mix.
Yeah, man, it's an awesome game. It's just, it's too bad that it's like the most sexist thing on planet Earth. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It would be so awesome without that. Like, it's like I feel weird playing it, even when it's just us messing around and we make fun of it and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, God, it's so weird that it's like that. You know,
It is weird that it's like that.
I could never wrap my head around that Japanese culture that makes all that weird womanizing stuff normal, and I have yet to ever
Right.
speak to a person. Obviously it's huge, and not just in the stuff that we're into, but like goth culture and everything else over there, and I have yet to ever speak to a person who can eloquently explain to me what it is in their culture that makes that not creepy
Yeah.
and weird. I don't know, whatever. It's weird.
Right.
But it's a great game.
Yeah. Great game.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm okay with the bikini girls, honestly.
I'm sure you are.
Yeah. And then we did play Destiny last night. Took on Crota.
Beat our heads against the end of a raid yet again. It's funny.
Yep.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Even with how overpowered we were.
Yeah,
Yep.
with the group of friends.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would with our level now. I mean, like I was saying last night, it sucks for the new guys. It's just not the same.
It's not the same.
We're blowing through it.
Yes.
So
Totally different.
they didn't get to experience that. So, but I don't know if Wojo's going to get up to the point where we can do the new raid. That'll be
He won't.
that would be more fun. I feel.
He said he's not into
Yeah,
it. Yeah, he's not into it.
for sure.
So we'll see.
Yep. And then I watched New Legion episode 2.
I haven't seen it yet.
Watched.
You see
No?
Legion?
Really good.
It's really good.
I watched.
Yeah, it's really good.
Super good. Yeah. Watched last week's Walking Dead. I haven't watched last night's yet. And then I started watching a new.
It still sucks.
I
Yeah.
gave up on the series.
Yeah.
I
I just
hear
I'm
you.
so bored.
Yeah, I love the comics, and the past year of the show has been just totally boring.
And
Yeah.
we'll watch it to see the new Priuses, the 2018 Priuses.
Right. Totally. Hey, is that it? Are you done? You're usually the one who has like one or two things. You blew this segment up.
I know. Sorry. Yeah. I did start watching new anime, Gurren Lagann. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. What'd you watch it on?
Yeah, it's about like on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. You guys have Crunchyroll?
Huh?
You guys have...
It's free on the PS4.
I thought it was subscription.
Yeah. You just have to watch ads. There's commercials without
Really?
the subscription, but it's still
Huh.
Tons of shit on there. Yeah. It's free for everybody. You just gotta watch it with ads.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. I'll check it out.
Yeah, totally. There's a bunch of shit on there. Same with the Funimation app. There's a bunch of good anime on the Funimation app too, and that's same thing. It's free with ads.
Yeah.
So, those are both on PS4.
I'll check it out. I'll hook it up.
Yep.
You done now?
That was it.
So I got a pretty small list actually. This week, The Walking Dead 163. We probably go spoilers on that next week. Darkest Dungeon, Destiny. So we already talked through that. The only other one I got on here is Pokemon Moon. I gotta say, I've talked a lot of trash on here about Pokemon Moon, about how it's a kid's game, about how it's not super. It wasn't sinking its teeth into me and whatnot. I'm totally in now. I'm to the point like.
Yeah.
All those things are true, but I'm to the point now, I don't know, I'm 17 hours in or something. I'm just beat like the first Islands Master Super person, which was the first time I've struggled in that game, period.
Yeah.
Hey, open the door. Oh, I do that too. We'll take a break in a second. But so the first time that I've struggled in the game and then beat her and whatnot, but all of a sudden it got to be like, dude, like I'm like seriously invested in my little Pokemon and like doing like, oh man, like you got that point where like you're battling something that's hard and you need your dude to get one more move in, and so you know you're gonna get attacked and whatnot first, and are you gonna make it, and just like cheer my guys on, and finally just the gameplay itself has become enjoyable enough that it kind of overrides the simplicity of the rest of the game and whatnot. And you know, we talked about the quality and stuff before, but yeah, I'm totally. I play it kind of once a day, as I'm usually around bedtime. I'll play it for half an hour before I pass out or whatever, and I'm down.
Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. Good. I'm glad.
Yep.
That's
down.
one of my favorites.
So tell me, like, at that spot, like, I feel like there's like 4 more islands with that many enemies and stuff. Am I halfway through this? Am I just a quarter of the way through it?
Probably just a quarter of the way. I mean, how many hours you got in?
I mean, like 17.
Yeah, you got a ways to go. Okay. Maybe a third.
All right. Cool. Cool.
Oh, nice.
Okay, Adam, you got anything else besides Pokemon Go?
Yeah, I've been doing the Pokemon Go pretty hard since the update. Trying to collect all the candy, obviously. So that's everybody knows about Pokemon Go. I don't need to talk about that.
Sure.
I've been playing Don't Starve, and they just released Shipwreck on the iPhone. I opened it. You can play Maxwell on there, but I haven't finished the first Don't Starve. I've been playing for about a year and a half.
Right.
So it's a great game. It's worth all the, what is it, $4, $5
Sure.
to download it. Worth every penny. Probably the best game on a mobile platform I've ever played. So now I've been trying to tear through that so I can play the Shipwrecked expansion.
So I played Don't Starve on PlayStation.
Yeah.
And like I make it like 4 nights.
My longest streak right now is 57.
Really?
My wife is on 210 days.
Nice.
Yeah, she's way better at it than I am. She does a lot of time management games, which I don't do.
Sure.
So I think she's more efficient at everything that she's building. Her farm and camp is amazing on that.
That's awesome.
I haven't read a comic book since the Dead Enders last issue in '94.
All right, gotcha.
Or whenever it came out. And then board games, we're getting really heavy into Caverna, the
Okay.
cave farming game. But we can talk about that later.
Sure.
So
We're gonna do a whole segment.
yeah, it's on
about
my
that.
list.
All right. Cool. Boom. In video games news this week.
I've got to say my mind is blown.
Yeah, I got
Boom.
my brand new display.
Wow.
I need to put it up a little higher, it looks like. But normally when it's just me sitting here,
Yeah.
I'll be cool.
I could go.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good to go. So the number one bit of video game news I have, if you could grab that Game Informer over there.
Here you are, sir.
Boom. Look at this beautiful cover. Love that. The
Nice.
back's nice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Nice.
awesome. But they announced this week Legend of Zelda is going to have a $20 expansion, going to have extra story content, some extra dungeon in it, and I don't know, a hard mode, I guess. So, you know, I sent you the text that day that news came out. I was pretty pissed off about it, to be honest. Nintendo's like the last holdout of charging you extra money to play the entire game or whatnot. And, you know, I've never played a
Right.
Zelda that wanted to throw me more story at the end of it. I've, every Zelda since Ocarina of Time, maybe before, the Zelda nerds will make fun of me, but has had a Master Quest at the end after you beat it that didn't cost extra money, sort of thing. So, anyways, I was pretty pissed off about it, but whatever. It's the world we live in today. So,
Yeah.
I'm sure the base
Yeah,
game
that-
will be plenty good without it also, so
You're not going to spend the $20?
Right. Yeah.
I might.
I mean,
Yeah, I very well may. Yep. I mean, I honestly anticipate that game's going to be my favorite game I play this year. I just have a feeling it's going to be awesome. And I secretly, well, not secretly, but the youngest kid's birthday comes out like 10 days after Legend of Zelda. So I worked that into, would you be interested in this? He's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, okay, sweet.
That's all. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm stoked for that, but not so stoked about $20 expansions. You kind of replied to me saying you don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I'm not necessarily against expansions. Like, if they're, you know, I mean, The Witcher, for example, I mean, they released The Witcher as an awesome full game, and their team continued to work on the game after they released it to make awesome new content that you could get later, and it was totally awesome. I mean, if that's what they're doing, like they want to get Breath of the Wild out there with the full campaign and it's gonna be sweet, and then at the same time continue to work on the expansion until they release it to give you bonus content, then that's cool. But I mean, if it's already done and they're just holding something back to charge us $20 for later, then yeah, that's stupid. But I mean, if it's something that there's going to continue to work on after releasing the game that we can pay, you know, an extra $20 for and get more content, then cool. You know, just, you know, whatever. I guess I'm indifferent.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the Witcher and The Last of Us did story DLC right. You know what I mean? I don't never heard anybody complain about those additions afterwards. Obviously, if it's The Witcher, for example, and I haven't played them yet. I know you keep on yelling at me, but if you made my favorite video game of all time, and then you want to give me more, cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, and I don't have to wait 6 years for a true sequel or whatever. Then cool, but you know, but it's just weird that, you know, it's like this half when it becomes story involved, it's like this half step to being episodic, but not really. Like you would never, the same thing would never happen in movies. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know what I mean? You get these portions of it afterwards, sort of thing.
Right.
The same thing doesn't happen in books. You know what I mean? For I guess that's why Zelda really bugs me. Something like Mario Kart, I bought Mario Kart and all the extra content. Just let me throw money at you and just keep throwing more tracks at me, and I'm totally cool with that. But when you're talking about something like Zelda, where super duper as story based as it gets, you know, it just feels weird to me that they give you chunks of the story after for extra money.
I mean, what did they say that? I mean, is it? I feel like it's going to be like every other expansion where the main game is the main story, and then you get an additional story for the extra $20. That takes place after the main story. Are they saying that you don't get to finish the main story?
No,
without spending an extra $20?
No, they haven't said that, and that's what all the best games kind of get it right. But you know what I mean? It's like this half step where it's not a real sequel, and the game isn't an episodic game. Like when we play these episodic games where it's broken up into equal chunks, and you pay the set price at the beginning if you're in, and then you get them all as they roll out. Then that's one thing. Or you play a full story that they give you all the story, and that's another thing. So the story DLC stuff is just, you know what I mean? It's a little bit weird. But again, if Zelda comes out and is one of the greatest Zeldas ever made, and it's got cool stuff, I'll get it when it happens. I just kind of I'm just not totally happy about that. Either tack it into the game or make it a episodic thing. Like, I don't know. I hate the future. I'm old.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm old. So,
Right.
So some other stuff, some smaller things. I'll try and blow through a few of these kind of small. I cut the Star Wars out, decided to make that a whole different segment. But the Sony Switch, you hear about this? So
No.
somebody found a patent where Sony basically has, it's a touchscreen tablet that two controllers stick on the side of it, and it kind of looks like a DualShock controller handles on the side of it, but it's like exactly what the Switch is or whatever. So that patent got pushed through recently. So weird, lots of
Really?
these patents. Just because somebody makes a patent doesn't mean that they're working on it.
So this patent is one of those patent troll things that,
Right.
10 years ago, somebody, just in case somebody invents this, they can sue them.
Sure.
Well,
no, I think it's more just, their R&D department's building 12 different types of things, and this is just one of them, sort of thing. But it was remarkable how much it just looked exactly like the Nintendo Switch.
is it going to affect the release date of the Switch?
No, I don't think it'll happen. Period. You know what I mean?
excited
It was
about
just it was just funny that that it came out. So yeah, and then speaking of the Switch, Nintendo announced that your purchased electronic games will be
Heard about
tied
that,
to your
yeah.
account and not to the actual device. So coming from a household that has three 3DSs, that sucked before. If one of the kids wanted to buy a game that was
Right.
only on their eShop, then I'd have to buy it 2 times for them to both play it, which was stupid.
Yeah, and especially with like Pokemon, like I had the Pokemon Bank on my last 3DS, and I don't think you can transfer it over. I sold my last 3DS,
Right.
and then I got a new 2DS, and
Correct.
it's gone. It's stuck on my old one.
Yeah.
So it's like,
So they're fixing
so
it.
that's cool. Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah,
Yep.
that's sweet.
Yep. You hear about the Magicarp game?
No,
So the Pokemon Company has announced that their second mobile game is going to be all about their weakest Pokemon, which is Magikarp, and it translated from Japanese. It came out to Splash Magikarp. Is what the game's called, and so we'll see. No word, no confirmation on it coming to America
what?
or whatnot yet.
Magikarp.
Yep, they released like one picture that was like it looks like a pile of dirt with 2 Magikarp kind of outlines in it. I don't know. It looked weird.
Sounds
But FYI, Pokemon Company
Sounds weird,
is
yeah.
coming. Yep.
sounds.
They want some more money. So the
Nice.
Bethesda announced that they're going to have another E3 press conference. So those have been the best the past 2 years. So pretty stoked about that. PlayStation Vita turned 5 this last week. I just wanted to not do a whole Vita segment, but say happy birthday to the Vita. Just in time for Sony to drop PlayStation Now support from it. So this past week, PlayStation Now got turned off on the PS3 and the PlayStation Vita. So it's a bunch of garbage, anyways. But whatever. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And then just 2 big games came out the past couple weeks or whatnot. For Honor, doing about 81 on Metacritic. A lot of people say that the fighting is awesome in it, but it's one of those kind of the story mode is apparently lackluster, and so it's all about do you want to fight people online or not. If you do, then it's cool. And then this, so Horizon, apparently their embargo is up today, which is a week later because everybody's review popped up online today, and it's doing.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, it's doing 88 on Metacritic, which is awesome for a video game. It's totally. I think the highest thing that they've got this year is 91 on there.
Really? Yeah. The one review I read gave it 9.5. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Totally.
So apparently it's good.
We're gonna need that. Yeah.
Apparently it's good. So that's what I got for the week. Let's move on. Let's blast through this. How about unless you got anything else video game related?
I'm good.
Just knocking out Pokemon and
Yeah.
and, Don't Starve.
Yeah, that was good. I guess the only other thing I was excited about was Amazon announced they're releasing a series based on Philip K. Dick's Do Electric Sheep Dream. Why I can't remember the damn title now.
Right.
What's the book's title?
Right.
It's I don't know. It looks good.
Yeah.
Bryan Cranston's producing it. It's a passion project of his, and I thought Amazon did a great job with Man in the High Castle. So I'm excited to see this.
Yeah,
series.
I never saw it. Yeah,
highly recommend it.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
All
now I'm
right.
totally done.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll move on to comic books. Comic book news of the week. Corey,
Comic books.
take it away.
Yep. Okay. Actually, the first bit of news I had is actually not comic books. It's D&D Magic news.
Okay.
But I read it today and it sounds so cool. I had to talk about it. I also left that out. We played D&D last week.
All right. For sure.
That was awesome.
Coming to our channel soon.
Check out that gator.
Yeah.
That gator chomped onto Amy. He sliced his head off. Now we're surrounded by
I crushed
giant frogs.
I did. I'm feeling pretty cocky
did.
about my dwarf. He's a badass.
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, so Wizards D&D released a free like mini campaign, I guess you'd call it, Plane Shift Kaladesh, which is the latest Magic the Gathering setting for their newest set. So it's I guess it's written by James Wyatt, who was like an integral part to the D&D from the year 2000 up until April of last year. They brought him over to Magic to help up their lore, and so now they released a free thing here where it's a crossover basically, where it's a D&D campaign based in the newest Magic setting, Kaladesh, where it's apparently it's going to way different from most D&D settings, where it's like fantastical steampunk world powered by ether, like a form of magical energy that flows through the air. And it's a place of, they say it's a place of optimism, full of creativity, bright with wonder.
So are the characters D&D characters or are they Magic characters? Is there like a whole different player's handbook based on Magic for it? Or?
I think it's D&D characters because it's like a 33-page thing that you can download for free.
Oh,
so I doubt it's
so it's just
all
the setting.
new.
So you would use your regular guys. Still, whatever. It's
cool. Use regular guys in the Magic universe, yeah.
So Adam, I know you talk shit about Dungeons and Dragons. Do you like Magic?
Not since Richard Garfield hasn't had anything to do with it.
Okay.
I'm a purist.
Sure.
You know? I think when he lost control of Wizards, they went from a really nice creative game to extracting money from kids.
Right.
So, if you're playing anything past Ice Age, I'm over it.
Yeah.
Which makes me old. I know.
You ever try?
I got it.
No, but Netrunner. Did you guys ever play Netrunner when it was new? When it was still a collectible card game? Richard Garfield designed when he was still with Wizards. It's now been released as a standalone. It's not it's still a exact same card game, but when you buy the box, you get every card.
Oh, okay.
So it's really nice.
For sure. Yeah, that's
Oh, that's cool.
a rarity. I'd be down
Yeah,
with that.
and they're doing
Right.
that with a bunch of older games. They did the first Star Wars, and then there's rumors that they're going to do the original X-Files CCG.
Really?
So I'm excited about all those.
I'd get down with some Star Wars
Yeah.
with you if you want.
If you've ever played Dominion, it's like that.
Right.
I think they took the success of Dominion and were like, oh, let's hash out all this old stuff that we don't have to pay for anymore.
Sure, totally. All right.
Yeah.
What else? What else you got?
Yeah. On the more comic book stuff, Baby
God we're getting away
Groot
from the
is getting
dice
his
charter.
own Marvel. What?
So thank God we're getting away from the dice
Baby
charter
Groot.
stuff.
Right. Baby Groot's getting his own ongoing series through Marvel. It's coming out in May, titled "I Am Groot," written by Christopher Hastings. He worked on Gwenpool.
Oh, okay. I did like. Well, I guess I maybe only looked at covers.
It was good though. I really liked Gwenpool.
Yeah.
So the issues I read. So that's cool. I mean, obviously with the movie coming out, it's kind of would expect that, but apparently it's Baby Groot stranded in an extremely strange land, must find a way back home with no way for anyone to understand him.
So, you read
So-
Guardians of the Galaxy before they got big. When Groot, is his consciousness the same, or is this
Yeah.
Is it like is it the same?
No. It's still Groot. Yeah, it's Groot. I mean, but he comes up like anytime, like Baby Groot's pretty common in the Guardians book. Like anytime Groot gets blasted, gets shot into like a million splinters, Rocket's frantically looking for at least one splinter to throw in a pot, and
Sure.
then Baby Groot comes out, and then it's still Groot. It's still the same consciousness. Yeah,
Okay.
he's just small.
Gotcha.
So that's cool. Also, next thing, apparently Kevin Smith is working on a Spawn spinoff for BBC America, based on Sam and Twitch. I don't know. I never really read much Spawn. Apparently, Sam and Twitch are two big city homicide detectives who face a series of super grisly crimes that are connected to the occult. So, cool. Kevin Smith's cool.
Sure.
Spawn's cool. Might be sweet. Also, maybe the real comic book fans I probably know who this is, but apparently the Vertigo founder Karen Berger, she's one of the most influential people in comic books. She's been out of the game since she left Vertigo in 2013. She's coming back with her own book imprint under Dark Horse, titled Berger Books.
All right.
So,
Cool.
Berger. I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
But yeah, big deal apparently. And then DC is releasing a new Bane series, a 12-issue series titled Bane Conquest. Bane's going on right now in the regular Batman series. Apparently he's getting his own 12-issue series as well. It's written by Chuck Dixon with art by Graham Nolan, which were two of the most prominent Batman writers in the 90s. So coming out in May.
He's been gone for like 3 books since Batman's one of the few comics that I'm up to date on. And but yeah, when he leaves, something happens for sure that sets that up. I'm sure, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Apparently, according to DC's official description, it's Bane will take his criminal ambitions out of Gotham in search of new cities to conquer and new enemies to crush.
Right. Right. Okay.
So,
All right. Cool.
Cool.
So, the third segment of the show is going to move on to Star Wars. We reach back and boom. So, a few different bits of Star Wars news this week. First one, this could be considered a spoiler. If you are completely, this is as minor as it gets, but if you are completely shut in, don't want to hear anything about Star Wars, you should probably check out before everything I talk about in this segment. So, but again, just kind of interesting news stuff that came up throughout the weeks that there was enough of it that I figured we'd give it its whole own segment. So the first bit of news, again, spoilers, check out if you want to. Again, minor, we're not doing plot spoilers or whatever, but just kind of talking through some different things that have come up around toys and media and stuff like that. So it's that kind of spoiler. So anyways, the Last Jedi, they this past week put out the German version of the poster art. Makes it pretty clear that Jedi is plural. I guess in German,
Okay.
You can tell that. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden, everything makes it now. Okay, now Luke or Rey don't have to die necessarily.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. Still, it's
Cool.
kind of ominous, I think. For are they setting this up to be the end of the universe, and then everything that they do forward will be like side stories, or what? You know what I mean? We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
So there you go. Jedi's plural. Next, there was toys. The boxes for toys were released. I don't know if you saw this. I don't know if you can even see it from here. But yeah, Ray's got the Qui-Gon Jinn hairdo kicking for sure.
Yeah.
So definitely going old school.
Saw that.
Yep. And apparently,
I'm not too into it.
No, you don't like it? I think she looks more mature.
She does.
I'm down.
Yep.
I'm down. It obviously.
We'll see. It's just, I don't know. It might grow on me. It's just a straight frontal face shot. Maybe see her in the movie with that cut. It might be all right. But.
We'll see. And then Finn's still got Poe's jacket. Apparently, that was the other thing. The other takeaway from the toy box there.
And she's holding Luke's lightsaber still. So apparently that's going to be her saber. So that's what I was reading when I saw that. People were hoping she would get her own. It looks like she's going to get Luke's.
That's a good point.
She could have built it modeled after Luke's first one. Because
it's true.
After Luke loses his hand, his lightsaber's green. So he might just pick up that one.
Maybe.
Well,
yep.
It's possible. No. Yeah, so, right, the blue one somehow ended up in, what's her name?
Yeah, the bug-eyed
Mada's place. And, yeah, right. So, yeah, interesting.
Luke's hand is mummified somewhere underneath Cloud City.
Right. So, yeah, so she could have the blue one and he could have the green one. But, yeah, I thought part of being a Jedi is making your lightsaber, too. So,
yeah.
We'll see.
Wasn't the Old Republic, at least.
Right, totally. Final bit of news I had. There's a set of books called Star Wars Aftermath. Started coming out right around the first Star Wars movie, and the newest one, the end of the trilogy, is out. In it, they go to Naboo. Jar Jar is a street clown, and a kid asks him how did he get there, and he basically, in Jar Jar E's, makes some comment saying that he made some mistakes that helped the Empire, and so now he's a street performer in Naboo. So those books are canon. So somebody at the Disney head honchos all sat down and said, this is how we're officially going to kill off Jar Jar, is give him the super disgraceful backstory that he made some bad mistakes and is now just a street performer.
Nice.
So yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's what it is. It's what it is. All right. So that's all I got. You guys got anything on Star Wars? We got the moment to talk Star Wars.
Well, I'll say after I watched Rogue One, I mean this is way when it first came out. I immediately ran home and watched it's Star Wars.
Sure. Yep.
And it was, one of the coolest things you could do with that fresh in your mind, and then right at the start, and I watched it on Laserdisc, so it wasn't all ruined.
Right.
It's the original
You
format.
got the badass laser
So
disc.
it was a perfect transition. I highly recommend doing that.
Yeah, totally.
I did the same thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't watch it on Laserdisc.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Watched it on remaster.
I mean, there are nerds and then there
DVD.
are real nerds who want to watch the stuff the way that it was meant to be viewed.
Perfect, yeah.
So,
Yeah, one of these boxes has the VHS version of the original
Oh,
in
nice.
it. I do have those, but yeah, after you started messing with them. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to find the not Lucas messed up ones. You'd assume at some point Disney's going to come out with the from the vault or whatever.
I'm sure they're going to. They didn't pay
Right.
that much money for the whole universe to not make as much money as they can on that.
Right.
And if they do, it
Right.
will render my Laserdisc setup obsolete. Finally,
Right.
My Laserdisc will finally be obsolete.
Yeah.
When that happens, yeah. For sure. Totally. Okay. All right. Cool.
Nice.
Other than that, I'll just say, at this point in 2015, we had episode 7 trailers, and they're not here yet
Yeah.
for episode 8. I want
Yeah.
some. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Yeah,
Bring it.
for sure.
All right. So, last topic of the day.
All right.
We're gonna talk some board games. I put my picture up here, my favorite board game that we'll talk trash about it. But this is why Adam's been sitting through this whole show, talking trash from time to time, because he's our board game subject matter expert. Definitely.
Technically, Nate's favorite board game is not a board game; it's a miniature
It's
game.
true.
But
Yep, that is
just
true.
we'll put that out there. It's a great miniature game. It's up there with BattleTech and Mech Warrior, but
Yeah.
it's not a board game.
Right, for sure.
All right, all right. So I watch your guys' show, and I realize it's really heavy on comics and console video games, which I enjoy, but I'm way more into board games. So I thought what I would do is talk about my favorite board games in order from easily accessible to super deep, Euro kind of really in-depth tough stuff.
Sure.
So obviously the place to start, everyone knows, is Catan. I mean, even Nate's got Catan back here.
Yep.
So
Somewhere.
you can get that at Target now. So go get that, learn it. There you go. Don't get the junior. Get the real one.
The junior's good for juniors, though.
Well, that's
I gotta
true.
Say, we
It
do have
is a
good time
different
with
game,
the
though.
kids. It is.
It's
It
far
is a
less
different
resource
game.
management.
Yep.
But yeah, that's a
You
good
see that
intro to make sure you
fan-made-
got somebody to play with in a few years.
Yeah.
And they have, I know how Nate feels about expansions. They've got so many expansions. They've got the
Yeah.
2 to 4 players, Seafarers. They got a bunch. I've got a bunch of them. So start there. Your next one.
Yeah,
How
I
do you
just
take
saw
it to ride?
somebody
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Corey.
just saw online. Somebody made a fan-made Settlers of Skyrim.
Oh,
Just
Oh,
like
nice.
Catan,
Yeah, cool.
except with
I've
Skyrim.
seen a couple
Looks cool.
cities skin the game with their own
Their
local
real
culture.
cities,
Yeah,
It's
that's
cool.
pretty cool. It's a popular enough game you can do that now. Then
So-
move on to Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride.
It's enough like Hasbro and Parker Brother games that you won't scare off new players,
Right.
but it's a little more in depth, especially if you get I like the German version. So there's a map of Germany, and you have passengers and cargo. You can play without
cool.
it, and it's just the base game, but then you add that stuff back in for a little more strategy.
Yeah, I gotta say, we have absolutely. So me and Corey try and get our family into. Our family's always been into games, whether you're talking cards or regular board games or whatever. When the family gets together and extended families around, people are playing games. Not like that, my wife's family and stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was the way all
Like
families
all
were.
we do.
Yeah, but
Yeah, exactly.
but I gotta say, when we played stuff like Arkham Horror, that definitely
That'd
kind
be
of
a little tough to bring
yeah,
somebody in on.
people are not necessarily disliking it, but it's a little bit more of a struggle, so to speak, and not quite so much fun. Ticket to Ride is like a hit,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's easily explainable. There's enough mechanics that I don't get bored, but you don't lose new people.
Yeah.
If you still got friends with you after the Ticket to Rides, move on to a cooperative game. So I would recommend Pandemic, Pandemic Legacy if you played Pandemic a couple
Yep.
times. And what's nice about that is if you got a newer gamer, you're all working together. so you can explain what's going on. You can explain what you're planning on doing for the next 3 turns, and they'll sort of pick up, and they don't feel left out.
Totally. Can I say, so first of all, I've heard about Pandemic Legacy since the day it came out.
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
says it's great, so I definitely want to check it out sometime. But
I've got a fresh Risk Legacy game unopened that I got to find.
I do that too.
I got to find 4 or 5 people that want to play consistently because
Right.
I want to play it straight through.
But I did just want to say that what you hit on there with the cooperative thing. So when my family's around and we're playing games, usually my wife doesn't want to play, because if we play something, for example, like Risk or something like that, her kind of lack of understanding about the game, she feels like she's at such a disadvantage because the people that are even explaining the rules to her and whatnot have their own kind of plan, and that they're not that they don't want to share and things like that. So it was interesting when I played Arkham Horror with her the first time. She loved it. She was like, "Oh, great! You can actually, you want me to do good, so you're gonna be sure to share everything."
Yeah, Arkham Horror and what's the other one? Arkham Asylum. No, that's
Eldritch
Horror.
Yep.
Thank you. Those are both great cooperative games.
Yep.
Way more in depth than Pandemic. Now, then these next 3, after you get through the cooperative, depending on who you're playing with.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I've heard the Pandemic's great. I've never played it, but it's simpler than something like Arkham Horror.
Way simpler.
It is? Okay.
You'll recognize the board. It's the world. It looks like a Risk board. And then you all start at the CDC in Atlanta.
Okay.
And then there are, I think, 4 or 5. I'd have to look at it again to remember exactly, diseases, and the diseases spawn on their own, and you have to contain them, you have to cure them, and if you let any of them get out too far, they break out into an epidemic, and then those epidemics turn into pandemics.
Okay.
So you're playing against the diseases, and the game usually wins. It's tough it's pretty tough. There's an expansion to that too. I know. No.
Right.
But it balances out the power a little more, and you can add another player. Where was I? You got me off my notes.
Sorry.
And speaking of, can I do a product plug?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
So Chicago Scooterist, Brian Bedell he does field notes. It's like under $20, 3-pack. Nice analog note taking. Get away from your phone. I'd buy them.
It's awesome.
So Scooterist own business. Okay, so now I would say Dominion, Carcasone, or Takanoko, depending on your audience. Dominion, it is essentially a collectible card game, but you don't collect the cards. So start with the base. They've got 3 standalone expansions. You can start with one of those, and then they got smaller boosters. And you randomize 10 cards in the center of the table, and then you guys build your own deck while you're playing. And it's a nice deck building technique mechanic, and you have to get victory points, which are cards, but those cards don't do anything. So it's a nice balance over the whole game of getting useful stuff and enough points to win.
Okay.
So it's really well done deck builder.
Cool.
Carcasone is a tile building game. You start with a single tile, and you acquire points by completing different buildings, roads, and all kinds of stuff. And that's just a great, really interesting game. It plays really well with 2 players and scales up to 4 quite nicely. Once you get bored of this sort of board building technique, you can grab a $5-10 expansion, and they'll add a whole new mechanic to the game, and it's fresh all over again. Right. And it's really cheap to get into.
We love Carcasone.
Yeah, Carcasone's so good. And then I like Takanoko because it's really
our
simple.
family's probably biggest.
What's that?
Carcasone's probably our family's biggest board game.
Oh,
we play the shit out of it.
Yeah. And
our parents both play it.
Yeah. Yep. It's easy to learn. It's hard to master, and it's like what I look for in a game.
Yep.
And someone on Twitter or something played a whole Carcassonne game with every single expansion.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was like this. It was the size of a huge room. It's like a gymnasium.
I do have, just real quick while we're on the subject, this is my souvenir from France for myself. It's cool.
I think the company that makes Carcassonne is just south of us here in New Mexico.
Oh, cool.
But what was I on? Oh, Takanoko. The board on Takanoko is similar to Catan, based on hexes, but everything's really cute. You're a Japanese gardener,
Okay.
and you have to take care of a garden so that this big panda can eat, and you grow bamboo, and you complete little missions and get victory points. But that's for someone who wants a cute little game. Strategy's there, but it's not overwhelming.
That's cool.
And then I'd move on to resource management, and the best one is Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Now you're getting in a little heavier, a little more rule based, and real deep rule set, real hard strategy. But it's one of the best for a reason. It's cheap to get into as well.
Nice. I never even heard of Puerto Rico.
Oh, Puerto Rico's great.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
There's a card game based on it. It's so good it spawned off all these spin-offs that are also really good.
Sure.
Now, if you were going to combine Puerto Rico and Catan, you'd have Castles of Mad Van Ludwig.
Okay.
So the premise is you're an architect, you're working for this king who's crazy, and the king is giving everyone different ideas of what he wants in his castle, and they don't you're not making them. They don't make any sense.
Sure.
You have dungeons next to courtyards, and there's all this stuff. Super fun. Plays the best with four people. You can do it with two.
Is it cooperative?
It is not cooperative. You are competing against the other architects.
How do you win? Like, just gain the king's favor or something?
Well, the king's favor points are the scoring tokens.
Okay.
And then the game has a finite end, and it's when you run out of certain rooms to build.
So whoever made the king happiest.
Exactly. And you have three king favorites that you can see, and then you have three that are hidden.
Okay.
And everyone's building things.
Nice.
So, it has if you remember Rampart, the video game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to that feel when you're building your castle.
I've got a YouTube story to talk about.
Okay.
Rampart.
And then we move on to one of my favorite games, and this you've got to get a heavy gamer to play this with you, because when you explain it to somebody, a normal person, they're just not into it. And it's Agricola, which is Latin for farmer. And in this game, you're a 16th century French farmer.
Nice.
And you have to grow your family, feed your family. You never have enough resources. The winter comes too soon. You have kids. Grow your family. That's the term they use in the game. So it's turn-based worker placement mechanic, and it's so frustrating because you have all these plans to make this perfect farm, and you can't do everything you want. So really, what it comes down to is who can efficiently use all of their workers, which is your family,
right,
to produce the most food and the most victory points. It's great and frustrating, and I keep playing it all the time.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
It's a really well adapted game for the iPad as well. So if you wanted to practice and get really good at it before you go to your game night, that's one of the best ones. And then I added Caverna because we just started playing that. It's the same company as Agricola.
Okay.
Same basic game mechanic with some extra stuff and a different premise. You're this humanoid race that lives in caves instead of being farmers, but it's really great. And that's what I have for my progression of board games.
So can I ask you,
Sure.
I found I was listening basically to it's one of the video game podcasts that I listen to they're out of the Twin Cities. They're actually on the radio there. It's Video Game Weekly. They do a board game weekly segment every now and then, and they bring in people because Fantasy Flight Games is out of there. They bring in people from there, and I've heard a couple different Fantasy Flight employees kind of try and explain that how to take your family into somebody who grew up playing Monopoly and Risk and thought they were too long and boring and things like that, and to going into these types of games, it really is for most people, I think, mind blowing. When they have that experience or whatever. And I just kind of want to pick your brain a little bit about your history and whatnot. Like I say, myself, growing up and whatnot, we said earlier, our family were huge gamers. They were always playing games, but it was definitely the Milton Bradley,
the Parker Brothers,
Parker Brothers. There you go, and we always had a good time doing that. So I'm not even talking trash about those. But then when I was in my 20s, late 20s, I worked at a game store that sold European games and whatnot, and that was right around the same time that when the Xbox 360 was new. They put Carcasone and Catan and a few other games. Ticket to Ride was on there, I think, and
really?
No, Ticket to Ride wasn't. But Carcassonne and Catan especially kind of overlapped when I worked at that game store and kind of saw the real life versions of these and everything else. I'd always kind of looked at the shelf at Axis and Allies and thought I liked Risk, I'd like to play that, but never did.
You would be correct.
Right, right. And then kind of growing up, I never played collectible card games. I never played Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. And now, like, even when I was working at that game store, I was young and broke and just had a baby and all that stuff, so I couldn't really get all that stuff. And then it was really in my 30s when I was in the Twin Cities around Fantasy Flight games, because I have two good friends that work for them, where they kind of exposed me to Fantasy Flight's brand of it anyways, which I feel like is like super heavy on the like technical role playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like almost to a fault. It sometimes I really like it. I nerd out on that stuff, so it's not a big deal to me. But it's hard to lots of times get a group.
Yeah, that's true.
Interested in that. So, anyways, I just want to run through all that and just say, like, what's your history? Like, when did you start playing this stuff? And has it been something you've done your whole life, or was there a point?
I went to Origins in Columbus, Ohio, and I was playing in a Magic tournament. This was, I want to say, Fallen Empires era. So we went there to do all of this stuff, and they had a bunch of other tournaments at the same time. And there were people playing these games I'd never seen or heard of. And that was really my first introduction to this world of board games. Then I went to...
were you 20 or were you...
I was 16.
Okay, all right, still a teenager. Okay.
Yeah, I was pretty young.
Gotcha.
But then I saw that, I didn't know that world was there.
Sure.
So when I went back to my local game store, we started playing like Warhammer 2K and whatever it was on at that time, and then we played Necromundum. Those are both miniature games.
Right.
They get expensive. They cause a lot of arguments because it's a lot of line of sight stuff.
Sure.
And I didn't really enjoy painting all the miniatures and getting all into it like a lot of the guys did.
Right.
So that then moved me more towards in-depth board games because you just buy them and you're done.
Sure.
And I wanted the strategy, I wanted the in-depthness of it. Replayability was important to me because I didn't have any money.
Right.
And then so the first true board game that I played was a game called Robo Rally, and it was actually designed by Richard Garfield when he was at Wizards, and that was his first game. And he tried to get it produced. And it was too expensive, had too many pieces, and they said the rule set was too deep. And so he went back, and he was like, all right, I'm going to make a cheap game that's easy to produce, and that'll give me enough money to make Robo Rally. And that's where Magic the Gathering came from.
Oh,
because all you had to do was print cards. It was way cheaper.
Sure.
So he made Magic so that he could produce Robo Rally.
That's cool.
And Robo Rally it's a blast. It's not in depth enough for me.
Sure.
But it's still really fun.
Nice.
Then the other segment I wanted to do is if you ever see anyone playing Cards Against Humanity and they think it's the coolest, most alternative game, explain to them that that's boring. It's one of the worst games ever made as far as a game goes. One of the best Kickstarters ever made. Right. But it's a terrible game. Instead of those games,
it is a terrible game. Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun, and you got to be. I think you got to be drunk.
Sure.
You got.
Yeah, definitely.
And somebody talking about sweaty, salty dicks has got to be funny.
Or with people that you're uncomfortable having those conversations with.
But as far as gameplay go, it's just a shitty apples to apples.
Sure.
Is there even a game to it? Like, people who think it's the funniest win?
They've just never thought about masturbating into a pool of children's tears, I think is why that's funny. But way better games
Those
to
people
play.
are out there.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, that's one of the cons.
Right.
Better game to play. Love Letter. Super
Okay.
simple. I want to say it's a 20 or 22 card deck. It's a simple rule set, but it's a really well done game. Tem-Purr-a is a fun little cat game. You feed cats sushi. And these are all card games.
Sure.
So that you can play real quick. 15, 20 minutes max. You can play them over and over. So Tem-Purr-a is good. You make sushi, feed it to cats. Try not to make the cat sick.
Okay.
Coup's another good one.
Does the cat get sick from
Too much food, eating too much fish.
too much overeating? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So Coup is good. You read through the rules, you'll get it really fast. There's a traditional card game where you play with a regular deck of cards, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a lying bluffing kind of game. Figure out who's who. And these are all under $20. Gloom is a really good card game. The cards are clear, and you stack them on top of each other, and they modify themselves. So that's a little more in depth than the other ones that I've talked about, but it's a great party game. And then Lunch Money, which is pretty old. It's from the 90s.
Okay.
It's akin to Uno, but you're a group of 6-year-old girls on a playground fighting over lunch money, and you're hitting each other with chains and bats, and
Nice.
there's a knife, and there's spinning back fists and all this stuff, and all the art's really dark and pretty. But it's all these nasty little 6-year-old girls beating the shit out of each other.
Nice.
So, that would be my intro to board games.
Sure. Cool. No, appreciate it. I guess I'd also like to just kind of randomly, and maybe this takes too much of a thinking it through beforehand, but go through the three of us with top 3 favorite. And this doesn't have to be definitive. This doesn't have to be whatever, but you know what I mean? Just kind of pick 3 games that you're into. Again, kind of aimed at people that maybe aren't so much into games right now and whatnot. So I don't know. Adam's definitely talked. What do you got, Corey? Or do you want me to go first?
Honestly, I mean, I'm probably the least experienced with the board games of the 3 of us.
Well, but what have you played?
I'd say Carcasone, Catan, and Ticket to Ride.
Okay.
The ones that we
Solid choices.
play with the fam.
Yeah, classic.
I mean,
For sure.
those are
There's a reason we have all those on our shelves.
Risk. Risk is probably, I don't know. I like playing Risk too.
Yeah, I mean, Risk is a classic good game. It's a nice step to Axis and Allies.
Right. So, I've
had quite a bit of, you and Dad played Risk, and I had a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, over the past 10 years or whatever. Risk definitely was one of the few board games that I think is better suited on the video game consoles and stuff like that. Once it does all the rolling and stuff, and the battles instantly happen, it makes the game a totally different game. So I would say,
and I had crossbows and catapults.
Oh, that was
Did
awesome.
you ever play that?
That was awesome.
That was dope.
Have you ever played crossbows and
I
catapults?
haven't played it in probably it's probably been 20 years.
Yeah, our family had that. So you got plastic bricks, and you would literally construct walls with them around your castle, and then it had a catapult and a crossbow that were little plastic pieces with rubber bands.
Oh, I think I remember that.
And had discs and stuff. And
It's the same era as Fireball Island.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that
absolutely.
wave of video games that had a physical element to them.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, it was fun. So I'm going to throw out, this isn't really top favorite ever sort of thing, but just again, 3 games that definitely had a big impact on my life. When I was a little kid, Dark Tower.
Oh, I remember Dark Tower.
So my parents had that. Going back and Google Dark Tower, and the artwork is so awesome.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, the artwork is the greatest. It's it was the 80s, but the artwork is so 70s, and 70s horror, kind of gothic horror stuff. So cool. you had a little tower that had electronic buttons on it. You pressed it and did things and whatnot, and moved the game along. So, anyways, it was fun at the time, and going back and looking at it now, it looks totally cool. Second one, and I'm not going to know the name of it. I think it's something like real similar to Dungeon Quest, but it's not Dungeon Quest. It's
Dungeon Crawler?
Hero Quest or
No, Hero Quest was a CD-ROM.
no.
So
So
you were
this-
telling me that I should get this, right?
Yeah, and Matt has it.
Okay,
What the heck is it called? So
There you go.
it's again it's almost not a board game because you're using a board, but you're building tiles on it to build out a dungeon in it, and there's certain doors and things like that, and it's super kind of Dungeons and Dragons light.
I'm not familiar.
Yeah, so that one person has a book and is telling you the story, and as you go through doors and whatnot, then okay, you can see the enemies that are in there and that sort of thing. Driving me crazy, I can't remember it. I was thinking about it now.
One of your favorites, huh?
When you remember it, put it
Yes.
in the comments.
Yeah, it was really, really a great game. And then finally, Star Wars Imperial Assault. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. Imperial Assault is again super overly complicated rules to the point where I still don't have them straight myself. And I play it with groups of people all the time. It is role playing game ish, so it starts.
Miniature.
Yeah, it starts kind of right at the end, right after Return of the Jedi, where you're on the moon on Endor, and there's groups of stormtroopers around the moon there that don't know that they've lost yet, and so the first mission is to kind of go shut them down, and then things happen throughout the mission, and then when you get to the end of each mission, there's if the rebels won, turn to page 7. If the Empire won, turn to page 14 or whatever. So if you have a group of people to play that story through, you do that through 6-7 missions or whatever.
It is a great game.
Yeah, and your guys level up, things like that. So to me, it just if you took the Star Wars skin off of it, would I care so much? Probably not, if I'm honest. But but that does it for me. Like I'm right in there, and the game is just as in depth enough to me to kind of hit the RPG nerd side of it as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you?
I would say Agricola is my all-time favorite. I play it a lot, and I play it by myself a lot. There's a solo version of the game that you can play.
Cool.
And then I would probably say Lords of Vegas, which is kind of like Monopoly mechanic, but you're playing on the Vegas Strip, and you play through the history of Vegas.
Nice.
And then
Is there a time aspect to it?
There's no time aspect to
okay.
it, but as you improve the casinos, they go from like the Bugsy Malone style era to the modern era.
Nice.
So as they build up, there's a perceived
They modernize.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the third game is going to be a little weird. It only exists in video game format, but it's a board game, and it's called New World Colony.
Okay.
And I don't think we'd be able to play as a regular board game because there's a market mechanic to it, where resources, the more you sell them, the cheaper they get. Or no, I got that right. The more you sell them, the cheaper they get, and the more you buy them, the more expensive they get. So you'd have to calculate this whole like stock market mechanic, and I wouldn't be able to do it like on the fly.
Right.
But on this video, it's on the iPhone, iPad, and I'm sure it's on the Android. But it's a board game that only exists as an app, and it's great.
That's cool.
2 to 4 player.
What's it called again?
New World Colony.
Okay.
2 to 4 player. It's conquering, resource management, all wrapped up into one, and it's great.
Awesome. Check it out.
That's all I got.
New World what?
New World Colony. Are you looking it up?
He's nailing it. All right, cool. Nice. Well, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. That's been episode 40, Comically Gaming. Everybody, thanks for stopping by. Corey, you got anything else?
Doesn't look like it's on Android.
No.
But no, that's it.
All right. Have a great week.
All right.
Later, everybody.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Later.